Hey everyone, welcome to another Modern Deck Tech, the last Modern Deck Tech of the year, and as it happens to be, the 500th video on this channel. So just gonna take 5 seconds there to rip it all in. 500 videos, about a year and a half in, almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in April. But yeah, so there we go. This will be the 500 video, some numbered deck tech. I should have checked to see how many deck techs I've done so far. And it's going to be Temur Snow. This will end my Snow deck tech series that I started with Bant Snow, followed up with Sultai Snow, and now Temur Snow. We'll get to the list in just a second, but before we do, as always, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button down below and that like button if you enjoyed this video, of course. Doing those two things really go a long way in helping others find my content, helping the channel grow. It takes you a couple of seconds, but for me, it really means a lot, so thank you for that. Alright, so the list. Very much like, at least the core itself has not changed, between all three decks, Sultai, Bant, and Temur. There was one deck restriction that I had, that I implemented, that I put on myself, really, when I was building these decks, is that I had to use as many snow creatures as possible. I didn't want it to be like an ice-fang deck, because there's a lot of decks out there that just play a bunch of snow lands for ice-fang Coatl, and I feel like that's kind of like a waste. And I wanted a true snow deck that used more than just ice-fang Coatl. So I pretty much stuck to Ascendant Spirit, ice-fang Coatl, and Abominable Treefolk throughout all three decks, and I find that the creatures all perform really well and consistently among all three decks. I really truly think that Ascendant Spirit is a decent and playable snow creature in Modern if snow is the way you're going. I don't think it necessarily plays well if you just build around it by itself, but it plus the other snow creatures plus the snow lands plus in this case Skred really works well. So as you can see, a lot of the shell remains the same, except that now we're playing Lightning Bolt and Skred, and we're also playing some number Prismari Command and Fire and Ice. I feel of the three decks, the Temur list still needs a bit more tweaking overall. I think it's mostly because, yes, you have a bit more reach here because of Lightning Bolt, Fire and Ice, Prismari Command. You could deal direct damage, which is always good, but you lack that efficient removal that white and black provide. So, it's something that I definitely felt while playing this deck. That being said, it still performed really well against all the different types of decks that you see in the Modern format. So, although I still feel it needs tweaking, I don't think it's like completely blown out of the water right now. The mana base is pretty much the same. I upped it to one more count, so to 20 lands as opposed to 19. The curve on this deck is slightly higher, not that much, but just a bit. So I felt like a 20th land made sense. And then the sideboard's pretty much your standard thing. So the synergies here, like I said, I already covered it. You're playing a bunch of snow creatures, you have snow lands, and you have Skred. Very often dealing 3 to 4 damage, sometimes 5. I didn't want to go the Delirium route with this deck because then it would just kind of water down the room I had for snow creatures. So instead of going the Delirium route and playing Unholy Heat, I played Skred. Performed really well. Did really good at knocking down most creatures, most large creatures in the format. So I feel 4 of makes sense here. But of course you could swap it out with something else if you feel you're not comfortable with Skred. But since we're pretty much all in on snow, Skred did pretty well here. The other 3 creatures performed, like I said, as well as they did with Sultai and Bant. As for the matchups, not much has changed. Like I said when we were going over the list just a couple seconds ago, pretty much favored in combo and even everywhere else. Same with, which is exactly what Sultai was like and very similar to what Bant was like. What you lose in efficient removal, you gain in direct combat, direct damage through Lightning Bolt, and also Fire Ice and Prismari Command. And of course, you could play whatever else you need to deal direct damage if you feel you need to. You have access to Blood Moon now, which is a big difference when you're dealing with greedy mana bases. It definitely helps you out there because you don't have to do single land removal. You could just kill them all, or at least turn them all into mountains. Which makes your Tron matchup actually favorable. I kept it even here because you lack some direct destruction spells, but actually really Tron is probably more favorable in the Temur list as in relation to all the other lists here. Everything else pretty much the same as I said in all the other decks. So this is what you should expect piloting this deck in the current meta. And that's pretty much it for Temur Snow, for the snow decks in general. I will revisit them at some point in 2022, maybe next December or next November, we'll see. Or if there was some crazy snow card printed that I feel is going to make a big difference, then I'll revisit the deck. Let me know what you think about this deck in the comment section down below. There'll be 3 matches going up today. I felt if we're going to end the year, let's end it on 3 matches against nice brews. So I put up matches against nice brewy decks, so check that out. Thanks, and have a good one. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you enjoy my content in general, please subscribe and hit that notification bell down below. Those few clicks go a really long way in helping others find my content and helps my channel grow. Follow me on Twitter and Facebook, share my content on social media. That also helps others find their way to my videos and spreads the word even further. And of course, if you like making money, check out my Patreon page. The link is in the description of this video. In particular, check out the Patreon Rewards program. Basically works like this. You give me your Patreon dollars every month. I buy and open up sealed product on this channel using those dollars. And I send you back that money at the end of every year in the form of rares and mythics. You get 1 non-bulk rare or mythic for every consecutive month you've been a patron, and every card is worth anywhere between $3 and $15. But I mean, even if you lowball it at an average of $5 per card, you're at the very least getting your money back, but odds are you're getting even more. There are a lot more details on my Patreon page, so check it out. Thanks, and have a good one.